Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mayhem Media podcast. I'm your host, as always, the Media Maverick, Mike Weldon. And today I'm joined by the guy that makes all this possible, all the intros and outros, the owner and founder of Mayhem Media, the one and only JD, Johnathan Edmonds.
Hey, how's it going?
John? Hey, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for joining the team. So, it's great to be here.
Yeah. So tell me how Mayhem came to be and what made you choose the name Mayhem?
Okay. The name Mayhem is something that I've had personally, and it kind of belongs to myself and a group of my friends. If you want to know the origins of the actual Mayhem name, me and a couple of people, we call ourselves the Mayhem Brotherhood. So that's a little bit of where the name comes from. I'll save the actual origins of the name for another time. Then you can have me back and I'll tell you the actual origin of the name Mayhem and where it comes from.
Yeah.
But Mayhem Media was started in 2022 in January. And it came after I had already been podcasting for a little over 2 years at that point, under the sister show that we have, the Boiling Point podcast. That covers, politics, faith, world news, that type of thing. And many people told me that I should separate it, that trying to cover some of what I was covering and then having entertainment episodes in between was confusing people. And at first I was arrogant and didn't want to listen. It wasn't until about 4 or 5 people that I actually I trust, their opinion and stuff when they tell me something. So it wasn't until really the 4th or the 5th person said, hey, you should probably do this, that I was like, oh man, maybe I just need to. So a buddy of mine who was going to join me, but he's not interested in fame and stuff like that. So he decided to help me get it started, but then he took a step back from it and stuff. But because again, we call ourselves the Mayhem Brotherhood. So we wanted to go with Mayhem Media for the company name, and then the show name, Mayhemtainment, which you've been using the Mayhemtainment studio and the football studio for your last couple shows, which is totally cool. But yeah, so I came up with the name Mayhemtainment because we're Mayhem Media. But it came out of necessity because people were getting confused. So Mayhem Media is all entertainment. It's where you come to be entertained. We don't talk politics. We don't talk faith. We don't talk anything that, that is any of those red button issues.
Yeah.
At least not on the normal.
I know.
We try and keep it straight entertainment. And then the sister show is for the rest of it.
I know from my research, I know Mayhem has been for the longest just covering wrestling. Am I correct on that?
I mean, it was never the design, but for the last, let's say probably 18 months or so, we've been trying to get the wrestling section of it started, like a wrestling division kind of going. Because we picked up a couple of people that were in the wrestling business or were associated with the wrestling business, and they wanted to do wrestling shows. So, and I'm not opposed to wrestling. I like wrestling. So we took their shows on, and we tried to figure it out and get it to work. And with any business, there's trial and error. You know what I mean? Not every endeavor ends in success. So, we've had our ups and downs over the last 18 months. And that's why now we have a good structure in place, I think, for the wrestling content we're going to be bringing on. And then obviously, as you know, we're pivoting to football. And going back to, the Mayhemtainment episodes are always kind of a variety of different topics. So that's not really gone anywhere, but we have been focused heavily on wrestling. But now this fall we're doing football, and we have some ideas for next year. And then of course next year, 2026. And that means we'll be bringing back our Olympic coverage.
I know. Also, we've been seeing some gaming coverage come from Mayhem as well this past couple of weeks.
Yes, and then of course when you joined us, you were interested in doing not just wrestling content and football content, but you were also interested in doing gaming content. And I've always had an interest in that. I just don't have the time to undertake the whole endeavor on my own. So, yeah, we're going to be getting into gaming content, and depending on a bunch of different things, you know how it is. Like I said, trial and error when you're doing new stuff. When you're running a business, not everything is a success. So, but we hope to have some like gaming, not just gaming episodes where we talk about games, but actual like gameplay, watch-alongs, and that type of thing as well.
Mm-hmm. And going back to some of the wrestling, like I know there's been a couple of different shows or series done within the wrestling division of Mayhem. Can you talk about some of them?
Well, the End of the Barricade was what we was our show that we were doing, and that was run by Connor and someone else who's no longer with Mayhem Media. Connor was the one who put in that he was the reason that show operated. I made the logo, so the logo, the intro, and all that stuff stays with Mayhem Entertainment, as well as the content that we've already shot. But this person took the name with them, so we're not going to have an Into the Barricade show anymore. Thus, Call for the Bell was what we decided to brand our wrestling, like our kind of wrestling department or division, if you will.
Mm-hmm. And this, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Call for the Bell logo. It's the only one I could get my hands on at the time.
That's the one. Oh, it's the one for WrestlePalooza. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if y'all don't know,
not everybody has the logo yet because we had just made it. We've only had the one show and the one prediction show so far. Yep. So, yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know who we were speaking about, the one and only Connor Clarkson, this is the one and only Connor Clarkson. He is another part of the Mayhem team. And if you'll stay tuned next month in October, you'll get to see his origin story episode.
Yeah. And Connor was the first person like outside of people that I knew to join the team. He was the very first one that actually came on. He came on from another acquaintance. They said, "Hey, you should have this person on," and I had them on the episode, and we talked about wrestling. And then, of course, why I had him back a second time, and I think what kind of gave us a connection was because after we finished our first episode, I asked him if he would like to come on again and talk about his disability. I have a disability, and what I've encountered a lot with people is that. Sorry, I got distracted by the comments. What I've noticed, though, is that when people with disabilities are on podcasts, they're not always asked about their disabilities for fear of offending or saying something offensive. And I think Connor and I are of the similar mind, at least, that we don't have a problem with that. We're not going to be offended if you don't know. We're not going to be offended by ignorance. And ignorance, I'm not using that term in a bad way, but if you don't know, that's what it is. It's ignorance if you don't know. So the best way for you to know is to ask. So I'm of the mind that if you want to know something about me or about my disability, you need to ask. I don't have a problem with that. I'd rather you ask than stay ignorant about it. Just ask a question. It's okay. I don't have a problem with questions. So I asked him to come on again, and I think that's what kind of created the bond, was because he had been on 2 other podcasts before mine, and neither of the hosts asked him about his disability. They didn't reference it. They didn't even ask him about it off screen. I was the first person to bring it up. Yeah. So when I asked him if he wanted to come on again, he said definitely. So we had him on again, and then I said, "Hey man, if you're ever interested in podcasting, let me know." And he pretty much didn't wait. He was like, "Yeah, I'm interested." So he was the first person to join outside of my people that I know.
Yeah, I know that's one of the topics that I'll be talking with him on his episode is about his disability.
Yeah, absolutely. and wrestling with it. It's and we have an episode on that. That the second episode. It's I can't remember the number it is, but it's Wrestling with Disabilities. That's the title of it. Wrestling with Disabilities with Connor Clarkson. So
I know Mayhem hasn't always been the logo, like always had the banner it has had now, has it?
no. In fact, we still have it. I haven't deleted it from the studio yet. You want to see what it is? Everybody, look
Yeah.
at the top right corner of your screen.
Yeah.
That was the original Mayhem Media logo.
And it has gone through several variant changes since then.
Not really. I mean, we've done some variations on it, but it was this one, and then it was this one.
The black and white.
Yes. Yes. And the first one was created by me. All right. You can tell because there's clearly a difference. That's great and all. But this one is far better. Also drawn by hand. Robbie H, aka Ecto85, does all 90% of our graphics, like our logo work and stuff like that. So
He did right here.
Yep, he designed the Halloween one. Yep. And
Never
he was one of the
again.
originals. Robbie was one of the first people. My buddy Mizpah, who you know, obviously, because you're in Mayhem, him and I started it. He was with me in the Boiling Point podcast. And then my cousin, Robbie H, started. He's the one that designed the Eagle logo for the Boiling Point podcast. And then when I separated the brands, he wasn't officially part of the team. He just designed the logo and some other work that he did for me. But then when Mayhem Media launched, he pretty much fully joined the team. I mean, he had been part of the team before that. Like I said, he's one of the originals. So most of the logo work is his work, and including any of the variations. You don't have yours. You don't have your finalized one yet, but like Connor's, Wolfman's, they were all created by Robbie. And he has his own Mayhem Cowboy. That's his own variation.
Yep. And you I know you have your own design page that where you make posters and all that, correct?
The JD Designs, yeah, I color fuzzy or velvet posters, whatever you might want to call them. I call them fuzzy posters. Some people call them velvet posters, and we'll give Stuff to Color a shout out. That's where I get 90% of the posters that I color is from Stuff to Color. Go check them out, stufftocolor.com. Tell them that JD from Mayhem Media or JD Designs sent you. And I color the posters and then frame them and then sell them as art as well. I've made some. The podcast has been going since 2020. I had been coloring and selling these posters since long before that, and I've still likely made more money off my posters than the podcast. It's close, but I've sold a bunch of. I've sold posters in across eight different states.
That's not bad at all. That's very that's networking. It's networking.
Yeah. So my work has gone out there. I've sold several posters. I think there's something like 63 total posters in my sold posters folder on the Facebook, but not all of them have been. Some of them are gifts. Some of them were gifts. Yeah, probably about a third of them were gifts, and then 2/3 have all been sales. So. But the podcast, the storefront brings in money, and I'll use that. Use the QR code in the top left corner. Right. Thank you, Mike Weldon, for creating that for us. But that QR code will take you right to bonfire.com/store/Mayhem Media Shop. That's the web address. But you can also now use the QR code. So scan that and check out the storefront.
Yeah, and if you need to, just take a screenshot of our show and go back and scan the QR code in the screenshot.
Yeah. And, I don't know if you were planning to talk about this later in the episode, but, we just recently got the licensing rights to sell Austin Diamond and Diamond Cartel apparel. So that's now available on the storefront too.
Yeah, that was something I was planning on talking about a little bit in the show. Yeah.
All right, then let's wait a little bit later and then we'll plug it again.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, you brought, I had this to talk about too. It's one of the series that you've done with the wrestling, the Generations of Wrestling.
One of our mini series. Yep.
And he's he's been on that series, has he not?
Austin Diamond. Yes. It's Austin Diamond. Jesse Morris, aka JMO. He's from Ohio Valley Wrestling. Shout out JMO and OVW. And then shout out Casey Thompson and his in-ring wrestling podcast that he does with Kevin Kelly. But those three guys have been the three guys that I've had on the Generations of Wrestling. There's 2 episodes of it, and we are definitely going to be doing a third. I don't know if we'll get to it at the end of 2025, but if not, then look for it in early 2026. But we'll be having a third episode. And we do want to do a woman. We want to have some women on an episode so that we can talk about women's wrestling over the years. So if you're a woman wrestler and you're tuning in right now, reach out to us. We'd love to have you on an episode with some of the other people and talk about the history of women's wrestling and the evolution of that too. We just need a couple women's wrestlers to come on the show before we can actually do that topic.
Or if you're watching this on the replay or the video on demand, make sure you reach out to Mayhem Media. And to quote JD, I'm going to use my own version. Tell them the Media Maverick sent you.
Yeah, there you go.
So how did Austin Diamond come to be with his Diamond Cartel merch being sold with Mayhem?
Well, Austin Diamond, we met Austin Diamond through another person who's no longer with the team. But they were having a match actually. And I kind of put Mayhem Media in the middle of it so that we could kayfabe be the honest media broker. You know what I mean? So we kind of helped evolve the storyline and stuff. And it was really awesome, actually. Like we really got, like, there was people reaching out to both the one guy and to Austin asking if everything was okay because they thought it was real. Even me, before I got into it, because they had started their thing before I even knew about it and stuff. So I was even reaching out to my buddy and being like, hey man, who is this clown? Do we need, do you need some backup or whatever? And he's like, no. And then he brought me in. And so, yeah, we kind of helped promote the story and stuff. And we really had people confused, man. They didn't know what direction was what with those two. They had no idea what was real, what was not real. We helped them blur the lines perfectly. And it was a lot of fun. It's something that I don't care about anybody who doesn't like Mayhem Media or myself. I don't care about any of that. None of that is important to me at all. The only thing that I'm concerned about is that I don't even care. In a tertiary way, Mayhem Media was involved in a wrestling storyline. And that's cool. That's cool as shit. You can't take that away. Nobody can take that away. So that was just cool as shit because we had people confused completely. They didn't know what to think. So, and I like to think that we definitely helped with that, with our promotions and stuff that we did. So that was a lot of fun. And then since then we've had Austin Diamond on, and then I got to meet his dad, Scott, who's a 4-time Hall of Famer. Shout out Scott Diamond. This is an episode full of shout outs. We are talking about the history of Mayhem after all.
Would you say, to quote Austin Diamond, diamonds are forever, but also would you say that Mayhem Media is now cold-blooded?
Yes, Mayhem Media is cold-blooded, and while diamonds are forever, Mayhem Media is for life. So since then I had them on several episodes, and as I said, Austin Diamond does the Generations of Wrestling series with us, and then I've been trying to help him with his merch, but we haven't been able to get that to work out. And then I told him to have his own storefront, and I told him I'd help him and stuff. And then the other day he just is like, no, dude, do it. And we talked about it. And so we've started launching his apparel on our storefront. We are up to 6 or 7 different designs now. Plus that's just t-shirt designs. We haven't even gotten into all the new stuff that's going to be available on the Mayhem Media storefront over the coming weeks and months.
Yeah, I've been able to check some of it out, and if y'all haven't yet, go check. It's some awesome designs. I'm very fond of the blue diamond. I'm very fond of it.
I know, man. I know that came out so good. I have a red diamond, but when I tried to get it to work with what I wanted to do, it didn't come out right. But the blue diamond came out perfect. So I'm very excited about the blue diamond. That's one of my favorites. And I like I call it the elaborate or ornamental diamond cartel symbol. I like that one too. That one's is one of my favorites as well. And we have more stuff. I have stuff. Scott Diamond is going to be pictured on one of the shirts. He's going to be put on the apparel. And just so you know, I believe one of Austin's favorite shirts is the is the one where I have him grayed out. It's just him on the front in a pose. And then I have the Diamond Cartel symbol on the back. I'm pretty sure that's one of his favorites. And that's got a lot of people talking online and stuff.
I like the one he wore in that one photo. I like that one. That was a very cool design too.
If you're talking about the Mayhem Diamonds, that was the picture that was going around. Yeah, we designed that. We designed that for him because we wanted him to wear some Mayhem Media apparel, and he said that, and being the businessman that he is and the salesman that he is, I can't fault him for that. He said he couldn't wear it, he cannot wear his own gear. So I said, well, what if I designed you a Mayhem Diamond? And he said, if you design me a Mayhem Diamond, I will wear that. So I did not do anything. I talked to our graphic artist and I said, yo, dude, I need you to do this. I was like, here is some of his stuff. We need a Mayhem Diamond of some kind. And he made it. It was about a week or 2 weeks later. And he sent me the perfect, which is what is on the storefront, which is the perfect, just fucking perfect, dude. It was just so perfect. Sent that I could not believe it. So yeah, we have the Mayhem Diamond. That's ours and his. We both that's something Mayhem and Austin Diamond will make money off of. I mean, so will his apparel too, but the Mayhem Diamond is like a collaborative thing.
Yeah.
The other Austin Diamond gear is his gear. We're just licensed to sell it.
It's his world. We're just living in it.
Yeah, when it comes to that, yeah, we're just licensed to sell his gear. Yeah, I mean, I can design it. He's given me full, creative rights and stuff like that. But yeah, we're just licensed to have his gear or to sell his gear. But that's great.
Yeah,
it's great. It's great for us. It's another asset that we picked up. Just like, no offense, and I don't mean this. I don't want this to sound mean or rude or anything, but Austin Diamond's relationship has now led to us being able to handle a lot of his merch. At least when he's not at a wrestling show. You've joined the team. You had your own show and your own Facebook, your own Instagram. You had your own infrastructure in place too. That's an asset as well. So, Mayhem Media, despite some of the setbacks we've had this year, 2025 has been a growing year for us for sure. 100% a growing year for us. Okay. We learned a lot of stuff this year and moving into next year, I mean, this fall and moving into 2026, we're only going to get sharper and better at this point because we've learned so much over the last 12 to 18 months. It's really crazy how much we've learned in just podcasting, running the company, building the company, and production, getting our content out there and stuff. So, and everybody contributes. You contribute in your own. Everybody has their own way that they contribute in Mayhem. That's the other thing I think that makes us unique, because I'm not demanding that you do this or you do that. I ask that you do this minimum amounts. This is what I require. But I'm also not asking you to do topics that you don't want to do or you're not well versed in.
Yep.
I don't ask Jacob to take on more than he's able to handle. Nick does, or Mizpod does his own thing. He does a lot of the business stuff behind the scenes. That's why we don't see him on a lot of content. And then Robbie H does the graphics. Everybody contributes in their own way. And that's what makes us such a good unit, I think, because everybody kind of has a job to do and nobody's required to do everything except for me. And I don't do everything, but I obviously carry the most slack, pick up the most water, but it's my company. Don't have a problem with doing that at all.
Yeah.
That's part of being in the position of starting a new company, is you have to be there and you have to be there to help everybody. You have to be there to fill in the gaps for people. That's pretty much what I do. I run the company, but in addition to that, I also have the shows, the content that I put out, but then I'm also there to try and be a stopgap for anybody as well.
Yeah, I know. You were talking about it a minute ago. I have my own infrastructure. During this stream, I just changed it a few minutes ago. If you go scan the QR code now, it'll take you to the Media Mania storefront.
Yes, which you still have your own. And see, that's the other thing, Mike. There you go. For anybody who has any misconceptions about maybe what Mayhem Media does or what I require of people, you still have your own storefront that you're able to make money off of, because we're not at the point where we're bringing everything underneath like some kind of Mayhem. Like, we're not incorporated yet, right?
Yeah.
We're not an officially licensed LLC or anything like that. Yeah, right.
No.
So that's the other thing. I like to give everybody the freedom, let them operate. And even when we become incorporated, it might be a little bit more strict, but I'm still going to let people work. I don't want to be,
Yeah.
I don't want to micromanage. I want to let you do the work. You know what I mean? You know how to do it. If you know how to do something, then go do it. You don't even need me. There's no reason for me to micromanage people. I don't want to do that. If
Yeah.
they need help, like you and
Mhm.
we go through some talks and a little bit of training. You said you wanted to hone your craft and make it a little bit better. So we do that. But otherwise, I'm not demanding of you, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and for whoever doesn't know this, if you haven't caught on yet, some of my episodes that y'all have watched lately, the visuals you see pop up, that is not me doing it all the time. That is JD backstage making sure this show goes smooth.
Yep. I do that for, yeah, anytime I'm needed, even if I'm not on the screen, oftentimes I am back behind the camera doing the visuals or handling the production of the shows and stuff. And, that's fine. That's fine. If that's where I'm needed, then that's where I'm needed.
Where would you say your I know with Mayhem covering wrestling, what would you say your inspiration was to have a wrestling division? Like what era, like what made you choose
I mean,
to do
listen,
wrestling?
I'm a wrestling fan, but what made me decide to have a wrestling division? Connor Clarkson.
Yeah.
He's the reason. If he wouldn't have joined the team, it's unlikely him and then one of the other guys that did join. But if he wasn't with Mayhem right now, Connor Clarkson, I don't know that we would have a wrestling division like we do right now. He's the one
Yeah.
that's run the prediction show all the way through for the last 12 to 18 months. He's the one that handled 90+% of the end of the barricade over the last 12 to 18 months. So without Connor Clarkson, there definitely would be no wrestling division in Mayhem Media right now.
Yeah.
I am a fan. I like the 90s WCW. I was a big fan of the Monday Night Wars. There you go, the NWO belt. I have the AEW Sting shirt on in that picture, which I am a hardcore, lifelong, since I was probably 6 or 7 years old, Sting fan.
Mhm.
And I used to watch wrestling when I was younger too, and I got back into it when AEW came out. I stopped watching it pretty much after. Listen, when WWE blew the WCW invasion, when they blew the NWO invasion, that's when I turned WWE off. I was never a fan of WWE to begin with.
Yeah.
You know, I just turned them on because after WCW, there was nowhere else to go. And I really tried to give them a chance because I wasn't even a fan of the WWE during the Monday Night Wars. The only thing that I was ever really a fan of was D-Generation X, the Hart Foundation, and then a couple of other wrestlers. And then there are some good matches. They do have some good matches, but they haven't happened far and few between and usually at pay-per-views.
Yeah.
So I've never been a WWE fan. I'm just not a fan of their style. I don't want them to go out of business. I'm not hoping AEW rules the wrestling world. That's just nonsense. That's not going to help the wrestling business at all.
No.
Competition breeds success.
Mhm.
So I'm more of an AEW fan than a WWE fan. So without Connor, we definitely wouldn't have been covering the WWE content that we have been without him and Wolfman Jacob. We'll give him a shout out as well.
Yep.
Wolfman. Hopefully we can get him on one of these episodes with you also to talk about how he joined Mayhem and stuff. Because I like this idea that you had. This is a great idea. I love this, that you want to like kind of go through all the Mayhem guys and ask them about how they joined and the origins and that kind of thing. I think it's great. That's awesome. It's an awesome idea.
Yeah.
So I was very excited. I am very excited to be here, but I was also excited. I've been excited since we talked about it. Like, yeah, this is kind of cool. I like it.
Yeah, and if you haven't watched it yet, when I did my first episode of the Mayhem Gaming, Wolfman was on there. So if y'all haven't, go check that out. We have a pretty good conversation about the very first Assassin's Creed game, and the second episode in the series is coming.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I've been keeping an eye on your comments again since I've helped you produce episodes, so I'm still kind of doing some of my part here with you right now. I've been keeping an eye on the comments. Austin Diamond, thank you for tuning in, brother.
yep.
Appreciate it.
And he's not
Thank you.
like Jonathan has helped tremendously, even with all the production he does and everything he does to network within Mayhem.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate that from both of you, from Austin and you, Mike. I do. There's no reason we all can't be successful. So there's any misconception that I'm against people or not trying to help us all succeed is just wrong. That's why I want people to join the team, because, and that's why I wanted to ask you, Mike, why did you join the team? Since I got you, I want to turn the tables a little bit and ask you a question. Why did you join Mayhem Media?
Well, as you know, JD, before I joined Mayhem, I was doing my own thing, my podcast. I had my now former co-host. It got to where I was carrying the weight of the show. I was lining up the guests, setting up the studios, getting the thumbnails, and making sure all the production was going right as good as I could. And doing all that on my own. It got to be where like I wanted to just throw my hands up.
So you were doing all the work, and your co-host wasn't contributing anything except just on camera.
Yeah,
and that's a stretch, by the way, to say that he contributed on camera. I'm saying.
Oh yeah, it's a stretch. Yeah.
Yeah. So then why not go out on your own then? Why not just try and do it yourself? Because you're good. I mean, you're good at networking yourself. You have some very unique guests on some of your shows and stuff.
And just the production, I wasn't happy with the production, and I knew my craft was not where I wanted it to be, and I knew I couldn't get to where I wanted to have the guests that I knew I could have on. Like I see, like one of our friends, one of our affiliates, Nice Guy Andy, he has on these awesome guests all the time. Like he had Black Dahlia on and Evil Nate. He has all these people on that I see. And there's been other people that I know in the podcasting world who do wrestling content, who have a wrestling podcast, who've had some big names on, like my buddy Austin, not Austin Diamond. This is a different, his name's Austin Payne. He does the Wild Side Wrestling podcast. He had Big Trouble Ben Bishop on. And it just really, I'm like, I got to do something. I got to go make myself better. I have to get off camera for a while and make myself better. I have to do something to make myself better.
Yeah. Yeah, so you joined us so that I could help you hone your craft, and obviously the team aspect and the resources that we also offer. Working as a team within a team it is better if you hook up with a good team. That does matter, unfortunately. But when you get with the right team, it does make a difference, does it not?
It does. And see, and another thing was before I was the Media Maverick, before it was the Media Mania podcast, my former podcast name is the All Things Wrestling Podcast, and I had done just nothing but wrestling. I was covering AEW, Dynamites, SmackDowns, Raws, and it just like I got so burnt out just doing wrestling. There's so much wrestling, I can't do it all. I can't. And there wasn't StreamYard yet where you could do audio or anything. I use audio. I was only doing audio, and I wanted to. Audio is not always the best option sometimes.
No, but even with Mayhem Media and our sister show, sometimes people do tune into us, and just listen in. Sometimes they don't always watch, which is, I think, is fine. I think that's good, and that's why it's important to keep in mind when you're putting up visuals that you describe them, let people know when you're doing that. And I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you again for just a minute because we talked about Nice Guy Andy, so we got to give him a shout out as well. I just loaded it into the studio so that we could give Nice Guy Andy podcast a shout out. Nice Guy Andy himself, Superfly, Johnny Lee, Sean Johns, and the rest of the team that's over there. They have a nice team. They have a nice sized team too.
Yeah, Calamity Jane.
Calamity Jane.
And they're just awesome.
They have a nice sized team over there too. And we give each other shout outs and help each other and stuff as well. So check out the Nice Guy Andy podcast and tell them that Mayhem Media sent you.
Yeah, and Mayhem Media, I know we just entered our fall season, and we're currently in the process of doing our Halloween content. So I'll throw this up.
That'll be releasing next weekend. Let me look at the calendar. I think it's next weekend. Yeah, next weekend, next Sunday, actually, I believe we'll release our first episode of our Halloween content. And then it will be 2 weeks later, around the 12th, will be our next episode. And then we potentially will have our live episode that weekend right before Halloween.
So with Mayhem Media, you'll never sleep again.
Yep, that was the theme for last year.
Mm-hmm.
because we did the Nightmare on Elm Street was the series that we did. This year we're doing Friday the 13th, but I didn't feel right about asking our graphic artist to make a new variation every single Halloween, every single Christmas. So I told him, I
Mm-hmm.
said, I think we're just we'll recycle this for another year. We'll
Yeah.
recycle this for another year, and then maybe next year we'll pick something. When we pick something, we'll go with that.
I know also me and you have been doing the football NFL coverage and football episodes these past couple weeks.
Yeah, yes, I was doing. Now I had that planned out even before you joined the team.
Mm-hmm.
That we were going into football this year.
Yeah, and I enjoyed that one watch along we did for the Eagles Cowboy game. That was quite a game we picked to do the first watch along for. There was some spitting. There was a
Yeah, we had a great.
scuffle.
Yeah, we had a great episode. That was a really great Thursday night episode. Thursday night football that we did. We're going to be doing a Sunday night football coming up here, and then a Sunday afternoon game. Monday night football is just a pain. Everybody who was trying to watch Monday night football knows that it's a pain in the ass to try and watch Monday night football right now. So I don't know. We were planning a Monday night football watch along too, but honestly, that might get scrapped, and we might just throw in an additional Sunday or Thursday night football watch along, because Monday night football with ESPN is it's just ridiculous, and that's going to make WWE content even that much harder to watch in the new year too.
Mm-mm. Yeah, because with the whole ESPN deal, yeah. Like even with me, like I've done a Friday night SmackDown watch recap. I've done a Friday night SmackDown watch along. I've done a Raw watch along, and it's just all been so a pain to do.
Yeah, it's not worth it. It's not worth the work it takes, and nobody cares. Nobody's tuning in because no one cares. So that's why we'll do our bi-weekly show, which we've expanded now to be just not WWE. It'll be talking about multiple companies. And in the new year, we hope to add expand the prediction show to at least to be able to do some AEW pay-per-views.
Yeah, I know. Speaking of WWE, I'm actually excited for. I know you're not a big WWE fan, JD, but I'm excited for one of these one of the angles they're doing with NXT right now.
With TNA?
Yeah, they're doing like they're having a NXT episode special, and the name of the episode is NXT TNA Invasion.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's a great idea. But the problem is, it's just going to be like any other deal with WWE. And who was it? I don't know if it was you or somebody else. What? There's two TNA champions right now that are WWE superstars.
Yeah. Yeah. Kalani Jordan is the Knockouts champion.
That doesn't help. That doesn't help anything.
No. And then at Bound for Glory next month, TNA's Bound for Glory. That's one of their biggest shows of the year. Johnathan Edmonds is facing Leon Slater. Leon Slater is the TNA X Division champion. He's a TNA superstar. Johnathan Edmonds is a WWE superstar. And who knows, by the end of Bound for Glory, there might be 3 WWE superstars holding TNA titles.
Okay. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. That doesn't help. That's not going to help you either.
No, it's not.
I kind of, the only reason that I thought it was okay when Tony Khan bought Ring of Honor. So you got WWE, who pretty much owns now AAA and TNA.
Yep.
And then you got AEW, which also has Ring of Honor. I didn't really like that Jericho was the Ring of Honor champion for a while. The only reason I was actually okay with it is because he actually had been in Ring of Honor before. He is a former Ring of Honor superstar. So I guess it was okay, but I don't like how even in AEW, we see a lot of TNA championships being defended on AEW TV. And I think that's fine to do once in a while, but I think you start making that regular, and then there is no Ring of Honor. It's just AEW. And now you've just incorporated all of Ring of Honor's titles. And AEW has enough titles right now, even if they did just combine 2 of them to be the unified title, which, for anybody keeping track, this is now is this the second or third variation on what was originally the All Atlantic title? Anybody remember that?
And then I don't want to get too far into wrestling, but they also just announced the AEW women's tag titles.
Yeah, I think that's, I don't know. Listen, WWE just did the women's tag titles. They just started that like not too within the last year or so, right?
No, they've been doing those for a couple, 3 years now, 4
Oh, 3
years.
years. Okay, but even 3 or 4 years, that's still not a very, very long time. I think that's probably pushing it. I think AEW is probably pushing it. I like that they have a women's champion and an under champion, the TBS champion. I like that. I think the tag division, I think tag titles are going to be. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Like I said, I don't want to get too
Maybe I'm
far.
wrong. Hey, man, the trios titles have already lasted well longer than I
Expected, yeah.
expected them to be.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't want to get too far into wrestling because it's supposed, so Mayhem supposed to be talking about you, but yeah, I just think women's tag titles have been cursed because every time people become champions, there always is an injury with one of the champions. But I know you said Mayhem. Like, does Mayhem do anything? I know they do. We do wrestling. We do the Halloween content, and I know you said we. How long has Mayhem been doing the Olympic content? I remember you speaking about that very briefly.
I actually started that in 2020 when I started when we were still just the Boiling Point podcast. We did our first coverage in 2020, the Olympics of 20 or not 2020. It was COVID. So it was supposed to be the 2020 Olympics, but I don't think it happened until 2021 is when it ended up getting postponed till, but it was the 2020 Olympics, just not until 2021. So yeah, since then, since I started podcasting, I wanted to do the Olympics.
So
some years I've been doing it more successfully than others.
Yeah.
This next year, I hope to really have some really good coverage this next year in 2026.
Yeah. So I got to ask, how was it doing a podcast during the COVID lockdown? Because I know so many people were at home during the lockdown, just watching stuff on their TVs or on their phones. Did you get more viewership then than you do now, or has it been about the same?
No. When I started out, we've definitely gained as we've gone more, or I still wouldn't be doing it. But yeah, no, we've definitely increased our viewers and followership since 2020, definitely. No, I don't think COVID really had too much to do with that, or with anything with Mayhem, at least necessarily.
Yeah. I just didn't know because I know with so many people, they started a podcast during the COVID lockdown because they had nothing else to do. So I didn't know if.
No, actually, I started podcasting because actually the story for that would start a year prior to that in 2019 when I started investing in the stock market. A friend of mine, I was saying, well, as soon as I get some money. And then he was just like, not when you get some money. He said, if you got $20, put $20 in. If you only got 10, put 10 in. He said, start now, because then in a couple of months, maybe you will have something in there to invest. If you don't start now, then in a couple of months, you'll still be saying, well, in a couple of months. So he kind of was like, don't wait, start now. If you wait, you'll never do it. And so I started investing, and I learned a lot, and I did lose some money. I learned things the hard way, but that's what I wanted to do. I needed to get in there and learn it. So I did. And then the next year I was like, it wasn't because of COVID, but a lot of stuff was going on in the world. And I didn't want to just sit back. And I've been told my whole life that I had a good radio voice, that I should be doing stuff on the radio. And I'm like, well, radio's dead. So let's try podcasting instead. So I took my friend's advice and applied it to the podcast, even though he had given it to me about investing. So I just in 2020, during that summer in July, I started. July of 2020 was when I started planning things. Started looking into equipment, picking out what I needed, the webcam, the microphone, if I needed software. And I researched for about a month. We didn't even have I started in July. We didn't shoot our first actual episode until the end of August. So I did about 6 or 7 weeks worth of prep and research, and what do I need? Let's get what I need and have it, and then we start. So I tried to have as much in place as I could possibly do before I actually started. So it was about 7 or 8 weeks between when I decided I was going to do it and I actually shot my first episode. And that would be
Yeah.
something to anybody out there who I would say who wants to do a podcast. You are not going to start a podcast and think that you are going to get thousands, tens of thousands, and hundreds of thousands of views. And you're going to be monetized and making thousands of dollars online. Nope, that day is dead. That time has passed. It's still, podcasting is still very much there, but now everybody with a phone is a content creator. Everybody with a phone. So you're not just competing against other podcasters. You're competing against every other person who's taking short little video clips and then posting them on social media.
Yeah,
So
you're
you're not
competing
going
with.
to be, if
Yeah.
you're not going to be a success overnight, if you really want to be a podcaster, if you really want to be in the media kind of business, the new media, if you will, you're going to have to grind it out, and you're going to have to perfect, hone your craft. You're going to have to practice. You're going to have to do all of that. It's not just a free ride, and you
No.
know that just as much as I do.
Mm-hmm. Because you're competing with every other Joe Schmo with a microphone and a camera.
Yes, we are not average. Yes, I am not an average Joe with a microphone and a camera. Well, not anymore. Maybe I started that way, but not anymore. Now I have over 5 years experience, and I've done a lot of homework and research, and I've talked to many, many people.
Yeah. I know you talked about it earlier, but you put it in the corner of it, but I'm going to blow it up real quick. This is how Mayhem, this is one of the OG Mayhem images. You look to the right corner, you'll see how far the production of Mayhem Media has come.
Yeah, go watch the first 10 episodes of Mayhem Media. Go watch the first 10 episodes of the Boiling Point podcast.
Yeah.
And then watch, because it's raw. Definitely where you start is raw, and there's no it's okay to start raw and to be like that. But if you don't start, then you won't ever take the next step after that.
No, you won't. I don't want to get too far into the detail because I do want to do another episode on it, but how is it being a podcaster with a disability?
It's got its challenges for sure. It definitely works for me because I don't have to go out anywhere to do it. Transportation with a wheelchair is always a constant issue. So getting out and going somewhere has always been a problem. And that was the other reason why I started the podcast, though, is because I no one hires me. I've applied to several, like, I can't even tell you how many places I've applied for jobs, and I never get hired. I've had a handful of jobs in my life because I've gotten lucky with some good people, but it's really difficult to find a job. So that's why I started my own business. I'm like, fine, we live in a capitalist society. No one wants to hire me. I'm going to start my own business.
Yeah. So because I know you see some of these people go out and do these videos right there on the spot with people, like that one viral moment we had. I think was it last summer with that Haley Welch girl. This was a random dude that had a podcast or whatever it was he had. He walked up to her and she made that viral moment. You have people that go out and do like podcasts on the spot, like just go do a podcast wherever they decide to go live from.
Yeah, I mean, that's a different kind, on location and stuff. I think that's a different kind. It's like a different kind of reporting or podcasting, if you will.
Yeah,
for sure. And that's something that I'd like to, eventually maybe have Mayhem into, being able to have people, field reporters out there in the field to cover stuff. That would be long-term plan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, the hope is that Mayhem Media, if nothing else, gets to be to a point where where the people who have joined us right now, where we can get to a point where we can just sustain ourselves. I'm not asking to be, the number one media company in the world or anything like that. I'm just looking to be able to, at least with Mayhem Tainment, I'm looking to just entertain some people and make a little bit of money in the process.
Yeah.
So that's the whole point of Mayhem Tainment. I mean, it would be nice if we could get to the point where, we had field reporters and where we could have, people all over the country if we needed them or whatever. It would be great to eventually reach that point. But one step at a time. Don't think too big. You gotta build up. Like even where we are, we have there's 6 or 7 of us on Mayhem, right?
Yeah.
So even from me and Mizpah to now has been like an unbelievable journey.
Yeah.
So I can't even imagine going from where we are now to being like where we have reporters in the field. Like, I just want to get to where we can start making some money, and then maybe we can start paying some of us part time. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That would be a victory, in my opinion.
Yeah. I know Mayhem has a website that is currently, I know we don't use it right now, but we do have a website that is just currently inactive, but we have used in the past for our
Yeah,
stuff.
it's down right now because we just couldn't afford to keep it up. We still own the domain name, but to host it was just getting to be outrageous. And StreamYard's price just went up this year. So we have to be careful because we don't have any sponsors yet. We're in the process of looking for some, but we don't have any yet. So our operating budget comes out of me and Ms. Pa's pocket.
Yeah. I know. And you were talking about just a second ago, I've applied. Well, I haven't applied, but I've looked to see what it would take to apply for a press pass, like for a press pass for events. And it's not that you see some of these people go to all these like media scrums after all these like boxing fights or pay per
Yeah.
views, and they have these press badges on. You think like you might think it's easy to get one. It's not.
No, it depends on where you're going. But one of the reasons we had the website was because that's what our research had found out, that some kind of central location with written articles and video content would give us that kind of what we needed to be able to get some of the press passes.
Yeah.
So that's why we want to bring it back. But for now, it's just a cost we can't afford right now. It's just it's a luxury we can't afford right this second.
No.
I would love to be able to, but we just can't right this second.
And to say what kind of like the team we have with Mayhem, like what would you say to people? I don't want to get too far into detail because I work, but what would you say to the people that have been a part of Mayhem and the people that are a part of Mayhem that like, because I know we have people outside of Mayhem that look at us a certain way in a professional aspect. What would you have to say to people who look at Mayhem and think about joining, but then they hear the rumors?
Don't ever believe rumors. Hey, don't ever believe rumors. And if you want to know who else would tell you the exact same thing, the Nice Guy Andy podcast and Calamity Jane. Because the reason we weren't collaborating with them beforehand was because someone had said bad things about them. And so we stayed away from them. Come to find out later, after that person left Mayhem, that they are not how they were portrayed at all, not even a little tiny bit. So don't ever believe rumors about people. Don't do that. Make your own judgment, make up your own mind, come to your own conclusion. Don't ever believe rumors, and don't ever believe people who are talking bad about another person. Okay. But when someone's talking good about somebody, 99% of the time, they're likely telling you the truth, because people don't lie about how good someone is usually. So if someone's telling you how good someone is, they usually are going to tell you the truth. But if someone's telling you about how bad someone is or something negative about them, always take it with a grain of salt and always make up your own minds and don't believe that stuff, because it's happened to us, like I said, with the Nice Guy Andy podcast, and it may be happening now with someone else in relation to us. And, there's nothing we can do about that. People are going to talk. People are going to say what they want. So I would just say, make up your own mind, get your own facts, reach out and talk to people yourself. Don't take other people's words for it. And when it comes to networking and collaboration, don't ever be afraid to take the time to reach out. You don't know who's going to answer back and say yes. So never be afraid to reach out to whoever. Never be afraid to send a message to a page or to a person and ask them to come on your show. Don't ever be afraid to do that, because the worst thing that's going to happen is they're going to tell you no. And who cares if they tell you no? So, but they might say yes. So that's the biggest thing, Mike, that I would say to people. That's been the biggest thing that's gotten Mayhem Media to where it is I'm constantly reaching out to people. I'm constantly trying to network with people. I'm constantly trying to have people on the show. I don't ever stop doing that. And I've reached and I have had, even you've seen our guest list. You know how many people we've had say yes. You know what kind of guests we've had. I have had 3 or 4 times as many guests that we've had on episodes say no.
Yeah.
You
Like,
can't be afraid of people saying no. You have to keep asking, because one person is going to say yes, and that's all it takes. And then you got something.
yeah, I know I reached out to you about joining Mayhem. Me and you had talked a couple of times throughout the last year before I joined Mayhem about me possibly doing some with y'all.
Yeah.
And even not with Mayhem, but like some of the guests I've had on in the last couple episodes, especially last weekend, I had on a former MMA fighter turned pro wrestler from Portugal. I had someone who I had been networking with. His handle on Instagram is the Real Moment of Truth Faction. He has helped me get a few guests on, and he told me to reach out to Paulo, and I reached out to Paulo because Paulo had been on their stuff before,
Yep.
and I'm like, well, I'll reach out to him. The worst he could say is no, and
Yep.
I ended up having a damn good episode with Paulo.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and that's all it takes. You just got to ask. A lot of people are actually more willing to come on podcasts than you think, because believe it or not, people don't ask a lot of people. They're always looking for the bigger people. They're always looking for the more popular people. So, especially when you're looking at people who are just average like you are, who maybe only have a couple of hundred or a couple of thousand followers, they're willing to come on and do podcasts and stuff because they're still growing their audience as well.
Yeah. And just yesterday, I had another good episode with Matt from the Wrestle Rugs page.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, he's good. We're going to be
Yeah.
having him on more, and we'll have Paulo on another episode too. See, that's the
Yeah.
other thing, and that's the other thing about joining the team, Mike. Right? Is that now we
Mhm.
have, now we can entice people more by saying, "Hey, you're not just coming on one show. Now you can come on a couple of different shows."
Yeah, and that's what. And if I had to say anything to people who might look at Mayhem and want to give it a second look, or might be hesitant to want to reach out, don't. You see me, you see JD, like even Connor, Wolfman, Ecto, Mizpah, we're willing to have you on our stuff and give you the platform to grow and be a part of something.
Yep, and Austin Diamond, he's our new
And
brand
Austin
ambassador.
Diamond, yeah.
That was part of the where we get the license to sell his gear, but he's also now our brand ambassador. So we'll be getting him some more stuff that with Mayhem on it, Mayhem and Diamond stuff, so that he can keep rocking both brands.
Yeah, and if y'all haven't, go make sure you check out the Mayhem storefront, get you some Austin Diamond merch, and make sure you also pick up some Mayhem Media merch.
Yes, pick up some Mayhem Media merch, pick up some Austin Diamond merch. We got a lot of stuff in our storefront. We have a lot of different designs right now in our storefront. We got a lot more products and stuff coming right now. So definitely go check that out. That's bonfire.com/store/Mayhem Media shop for our shop.
And if you haven't, also make sure you go pick up some merch from the Media Mania storefront. You just scan that QR code in your left-hand corner, and there's some new designs that have been dropped there. Well, there's some Halloween designs, and there's still designs from my summer designs where I had the 4th of July design. And so just go pick up some merch before it's gone.
We took down our 4th merch. We took down the Mayhem firework apparel off our storefront. Or not you, but ours on Mayhem. We took ours down. So you only, hey man, that's why you don't wait. That's why you don't wait. Don't wait to get gear, because you don't know. This year we just happen to be reusing the Halloween. By the way, the Halloween logo is available on apparel on our storefront as well. The Never Sleep Again logo. So go pick that up. It's only here for a limited time. Okay. It's only here till likely the end of October or very early November. And then it's coming back down again. And next year, I'm likely going to have Robbie make us a different variation. Okay. There's a reason that I do this. And it's because if you want some of this gear, you need to get it while it's here, because once we decide we take the campaign down off the storefront, that could be the end of that design. You might not see it again. So don't wait, especially when we do special runs or holiday stuff. Don't wait, pick one up, because it may not be back next year.
And another thing, if you haven't noticed yet, this podcast, the Media Mania podcast is partnered with W Energy, and it's what it's fueled by. And if you haven't yet, go get you some W Energy. Use the code MMP10 at checkout to save yourself 10%. Yeah, it's fueled by W. And
It's fueled by Mayhem Media. It's something by W. Yep.
Yeah.
It's something by W.
And I want to thank JD, Johnathan Edmonds, for coming on this episode of the Media Mania podcast. And if y'all haven't, make sure y'all go check out Mayhem on Facebook. We're on Twitter, X, and make sure y'all go check out his design page on Instagram and buy some of his work. And this has been I've been the Media Maverick. This has been JD of Mayhem Media. And make sure y'all catch us on the replay and the video on demand. This is the Media Maverick signing off. Good night.